reporting out of closed session. 2 items. First item, 4.1.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, first item is just to receive the report.
Thank you. Someone like to move that? Councillor Humphrey, seconded by Councillor Kim. Any comments, questions? Record a vote.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Record vote has been requested for the first item of council reporting out of closed session. Councillor Gartner, how do you vote? Sorry, Councillor, you're on mute.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you. Councillor Kim? Councillor Kim votes yes. Councillor Humphreys? Councillor Humphreys votes yes. Mayor Maracus?
Yes.
Councillor Gilliland? Yes. Councillor Gilliland votes yes. Councillor Thompson?
Yes.
And Councillor Gallo?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Second item, 4.2.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Second item of council reporting out of closed session is to receive the report and that confidential direction to staff be confirmed.
Someone like to move that? Councillor Humphrey, second. Councillor Gilliland. Any comments or questions? Councillor Gallo.
While I can't say much, I wanted to be very clear that I am opposed to the direction that council is taking. I don't agree with it. I think it's an error. I think it's setting poor precedents, and I will be voting against it.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other comments? Oh, Councillor Gartner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, I did mention the word precedent previously. I have to change my vote and go against the decision, as I think it would set a very bad precedent. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Call the vote. Mr. Clerk, record a vote.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Record vote for the second item of council reporting out of closed session. Councillor Thompson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councillor Kim? Councillor Kim votes yes. Councillor Gilliland? Councillor Gilliland votes yes. Councillor Gartner?
No.
Mayor Maracus?
Yes.
Councillor Gallo?
No.
And Councillor Humphreys? Councillor Humphreys votes yes. The motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Permanent bylaw. Councillor Humphreys, second. Councillor Kim. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. For us, for motion to adjourn, I'll just say sometimes leadership is making the tough decisions. Motion to adjourn. Councillor Humphreys, Councillor Kim, all those in favor? Opposed? That carries. Mr. Clerk, time 7:06. I'm going to call this council meeting to order. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, meetings will be available to the public via live stream only on the town's YouTube channel. To participate electronically, please visit aurora.ca/participation. We would like to start by acknowledging that the land on which we live and work is the traditional territory of the Wendat, the Haudenosaunee, and the Anishinaabe peoples, whose presence here continues to this day. Aurora is part of the treaty lands of the Mississaugas of the Credit and the Williams Treaties First Nations. We acknowledge and thank them for sharing this land with us. A shared understanding of how the rich cultural heritage that has existed for centuries and of how our collective past brought us to where we are today will help us walk together into a better future. Council, can I get a motion to approve the agenda? Councillor Humphreys, seconded by Councillor Thompson. Any comments or questions? Call a vote. It's on your e-scribe, everyone. Councilor Gardner?
Thank you. I don't see the vote on my screen, so yes.
Thank you. And I'm a yes as well. I haven't pulled up my eScribe yet, so I'm in the midst of doing that. So that carries. Any declarations of pecuniary interest? Seeing none. Community presentations. We have one with Greg Stancic, Manager of Buy and Data Analytics, York Regional Police, regarding the new Community Safety Data Portal presentation. Greg, welcome.
Good evening, Your Worship, and I'll start things off on behalf of Greg, and then I'll turn it over.
I didn't see you there. Deputy Chief, it's nice. Welcome. They don't have you listed on my sheet, so I apologize. But welcome, and floor is yours.
No apology required. Thank you very much, and good evening, Your Worship and members of Council. Once again, Paulo da Silva, Deputy Chief in charge of the Administrative Branch at York Regional Police. Tonight, we also have Superintendent Sonia Desange, the officer in charge of one district who oversees the town of Aurora, Newmarket, King, East Gwillimbury, and our manager of business intelligence and analytics, Greg Stanici. And this evening, we are very excited to demonstrate our new community data safety portal. Hopefully we'll be given a little bit of extra time because I don't think 5 minutes will do it justice, but I'll leave it in your good hands, Your Worship. York Regional Police have been pioneers and leaders in leveraging business intelligence and data analytics within policing. And a year ago, we had a vision to replace and transform our existing crime map through our business intelligence and analytics team to design and develop a new community data safety portal, which would allow our community to participate and engage in community safety and well-being. This new portal is innovative, supports greater transparency, provides a platform for community engagement with the goal of fostering community safety and well-being as a shared responsibility. And at this time, it's my pleasure to turn things over to Greg Stanici, who will provide an overview and demonstration of the portal.
Thank you, Chief. And Greg, before you start, just so we can maybe clear up procedurally, how much time do you guys need, Deputy Chief?
If we could get 10 minutes, we could try to squeeze in as much as we can for 10 minutes.
How about I make it 12? Does that work?
Fantastic.
Okay. All right. So or we can make it 15. Council, can we just, would someone like to put a motion for a waive procedure to allow for 15 minutes for the community presentation? Councilor Humphreys, seconded by Councilor Kim. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. Deputy Chief, you guys have 15 minutes. So go ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Deputy, for the introduction. And thank you, Council, for your invitation this evening. What I will do is I will click the share button and attempt to share my screen here. 1 second. Just a little bit of negotiation here with the technology. Hopefully I can figure it all out. Does everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, great. So as you can see, we are looking at the front page of wirep.ca, our homepage. The new community safety data portal launched back in November of this year. And to date, we've had almost 10,000 people already log in to use the solution. The site is being advertised on the main page, the main banner on wirep.ca, but anyone interested can always log into this site from the crime map link at the top of the page, or as well crime map at the bottom of the page. You might also have seen advertisements on our Twitter and social media connections as well. But for this evening, I will jump right into the community safety data portal. And I've already got it loaded up with, sorry, let me just start from the main page. I was right on the crime map thinking I only had 5 minutes, and appreciating a few extra minutes here to give you a run through of the main solution. So from the main page of our community safety data portal, you'll notice right at the top, as the deputy mentioned, we are promoting the vision of this solution as community safety being a shared responsibility, and all the functionality we've added to this solution is about engaging the community in the safety of their neighborhoods. So a little background on the solution and how we got to where we are today. We had a lot of great partnerships to build this solution. We've had over 100 community members involved in the design and testing of the solution prior to its release. And anyone interested in more detailed explanation of this product, of this solution, is welcome to check out our Community Safety Data Portal Academy sessions. They're available right off the main page of the portal itself. So you can see we have a session tomorrow evening, or actually tomorrow afternoon from 12 to 1. And then we have sessions booked for January. So we've had great turnouts on these. 20 to 50 members of the public have been coming out to join us. And in that 1 hour, we do go into the full detail of the solution and really deputize everyone who attends and turns them into crime fighters. So before I go into the product itself, I will just mention a couple other things. We forget once we start looking at the crime map for the first time, and you start maybe, opening up your date range and look at, 100 or 300 days plus, the York region is one of the safest communities in Canada. We do want to acknowledge that and reference that right at the top of our page. If you've never seen a crime map before and this is your first time looking at it, it can be overwhelming. But trust us, if you look at other areas across Ontario or even in Canada, York Region is one of the safest. And this portal will only help inform our members of the public to ensure it remains one of the safest communities in Canada. We've got a few points here noting how this portal can support each member of the public, making it easier to submit tips and digital evidence, providing information and easy access to things like our security camera registry, improving transparency to police data and crime statistics, supporting our neighborhood watch groups. We've had tremendous response from our neighborhood watch captains, and in a presentation yesterday evening to another council group, there was a great response around enhancing their neighborhood watch. So we welcome those discussions from the town of Aurora. And also, of course, offering a mobile-friendly, accessible experience through this solution. I'll point out another piece of accessibility on the left-hand side of the screen. I just want to confirm, Paulo, can you see my page?
I can.
Okay, great. I was missing the little display that was telling me this was on display, but I appreciate that. So on the left-hand side of the screen, you can see a translate button, and by selecting that, you have over 100 languages that you can use to translate the site. So if you want to check out the site in French, by selecting French, you'll notice all the labels have changed to French. You can go through the site and navigate it through the French language or the language of your choice. I'm going to go back to English for this presentation. And before I go into the portal crime map, I'll just note one of the new features we've already added to the solution since we went live is the seasonal alert feature. From this area, you can see we are notifying members of the public that vehicle thefts are on the rise or have been on the rise in 2021. We noticed break and enters were trending down, but vehicle thefts have been continuing to plague the region. By clicking on this link right from the main page, members of the public can see York Regional Police's investigative team's vehicle theft warnings and prevention tips, learning about things like trackers that people are putting in vehicles these days to follow these cars home and to steal them later on from your driveway. So York Regional Police is being progressive and informative, trying to share this information with as many people as possible. There are 2 YouTube videos at the end of the page here, which will again, contain more information from our investigative teams. Now I'll show you how this information is actually embedded right into the crime map. Going back to the main page, I'll just point out a few of the main features. We have 2 community safety maps. One is for desktop, one is for the mobile experience. So you can open up this from your phone and see a lot of the same functionality you would see on a desktop. We've got our road safety maps available for desktop and mobile. We've got 2 new dashboards that we've never had before in our solution, a crime dashboard and a road safety dashboard. We've got our historical maps, which for anyone who really wants to look at trends and dig down deep into the last 5 years, these 2 maps allow you to explore over 5 years, or at least 5 years worth of crime data. And right at the bottom of the page, we have an open data portal for anyone who wants to go in and download the data themselves or filter the data themselves in ways that the maps don't currently allow. You can do that as well. Right at the top of the page, we have a help and FAQ, which does include user guides, glossaries. So all the police terminology is explained in the glossary. most importantly, right at the bottom, the video tutorials. You can watch a video on how to use the community safety map in 12 minutes or less, as well as the road safety map tutorial. So I do encourage people to check those out as well. I'm going to go back and open up the crime map and just get a quick glimpse of it before our time runs out tonight. And I will be using the desktop version of the crime map. When the crime map first opens up, you will see the last 7 days worth of crime across the region. And the beauty of this new feature, this new map, is the integrated charting. So you will have a perfect understanding of what you're looking at any given time. So we're looking at 7 days across the region. We can see there are a total of 185 primary occurrence types. So these occurrences are things like assaults, attempted murders, break-and-enters, all the way down to our theft of motor vehicles and weapons violations. Zooming in any part of the region allows you to see exactly how much crime is in this area. So I've just zoomed into Newmarket, and you'll notice the area I'm looking at has 15 events, 15 primary crimes. If I zoom back out and move down to Aurora, you can see those numbers update. That's a quick and easy way to just navigate and check out the crime for your own neighborhood. If I zoom back out again and have a look at the region, I'm going to change my date range to 30 days so I can feature the new functionality called the community safety alerts. This is something we have created that is groundbreaking in policing, especially for our community, as we have connected community safety alerts to your areas, to everywhere across the region. So you can see right now, there is a robbery, an attempted murder, drug violations, robberies. I can scroll through this list. There's a number of community safety alerts. I'm just going to click on this robbery, and it will show me where that robbery is in the region because I'm looking at the whole region. We can see the color zooming into this area. And I can zoom to that robbery and learn more about it. So this was a robbery that happened in the Vaughan area. It was actually involved a carjacking. All points on the map are nearest intersections. So we are privatizing the location of every event. So we're maintaining the privacy of the public. You can submit a Crime Stoppers tip if you know anything about this robbery. You were in the area, you might have some information, maybe dash cam footage, anything, you can submit it to Crime Stoppers. You can learn about crime prevention right in this panel here by clicking on crime prevention. Will take you to our crime prevention page, encouraging the public to research and learn more about what they can do to keep their neighborhood safe. But most importantly, there is an ability to solve this case or to help us solve this case. By clicking this link, you will see the details for this carjacking. So we are explaining what happened, that this event happened on December 8th, just after 11 p.m. What happened, the descriptions of the subjects that were involved or that were seen leaving the event. You can see the area of York Regional Police to contact our hold-up unit, their phone number extension, or again, if the public wants to remain anonymous, they can submit a tip through our Crime Stoppers site. So that's all embedded right into the community safety data portal. I'm going to zoom out again. And there's, again, a lot of great information always being updated on our site. The data on this site is updated on a nightly basis. So approximately every evening or every morning at 3 a.m., all the data on this map will be updated. You will see things that we've never shown before on the left-hand side of the panel. You will see the violent crimes. So if you're interested in seeing the violent crimes, by selecting the violent crime filter, you can look at violent crimes across the region and notice they are charted for us as well. So in the last 30 days, we've had 114 violent crimes across the region. If you take a look, we have a new shooting flag by unchecked violent crimes. You could see if there were shootings in the region. There have been no shootings in the region in the last 30 days that have been flagged. Shootings are actually filtered manually by a crime analyst and confirm that they did involve a shooting of or at a person or a subject. So those take a little more time to come on. So I'll select the last 60 days and we can see there were a few shootings across the region. We can see there are 2 related to assaults and 4 related to attempted murders. I will scroll down again and deselect shootings and select hate crimes. Again, another new feature that is important to the constituents of York Region. York Regional Police has heard a lot about the public's interest in understanding and learning about hate crimes. So we've created this hate crime flag. And by looking at hate crimes across the region, we can see all of the hate crimes that have happened in the last 60 days. and we can see where they have happened. You can see the charting of those, and again, learn more about those by just zooming in and clicking on the points to see what happened in this particular situation, which was a harassing incident in Vaughan. What I'm going to do now is just give you a quick glimpse into Aurora. So I'm going to change my municipality to Aurora, and we're already looking at the last 60 days of crime in Aurora. And let me just make sure my filters are working. I still have hate crime on, so there have been no hate crimes in Aurora. I'm just
11
turning
minutes,
hate
Greg.
crimes off. Yeah, thank you, Deputy. So here are all the crimes that have happened in Aurora in the last 60 days. What I do want to acknowledge are theft of motor vehicles. By clicking on that tab, you can see those points on the map. By clicking on the theft of motor vehicles, you will see, again, the Crime Stoppers information, the seasonal alert, the theft of motor vehicle video 1, and theft of motor vehicle crime prevention video 2. So I do encourage members of the public to watch these to help prevent the theft of vehicles from their neighborhood. So that's pretty much the high level function or functionality of this crime map. There are charts across the bottom of the crime map. I will just quickly jump out and go back to the main page and give you a quick peek at the dashboard. We'll get a quick look at the crime dashboard. This is also very important to have a good sense of what crimes are trending in your municipality. So when you open up this dashboard, it will show you by default the last 7 days. You can look at the last 30 days, 180 or 365 days. I will click 365 days. This is crime across the region. So all the top 12 key performance indicators of crime in the region. You do have a municipality filter, so I will select Aurora. And by selecting Aurora for the last 365 days, we can see assaults are up by 1.4%, so almost neutral. Impaireds are almost neutral. Break and enters are up slightly. Theft of motor vehicles are up slightly. But we have robberies that are down, attempted murders are down, weapons violations are down, etc. So it's a great sense of the safety of your town or municipality. And this is something I do recommend people check out on a regular basis. By looking at the last 7 days, you can always have a good sense of what is going on. I was looking at the last year, but you can see in the last 7 days, there's a great story in Aurora. Most of the crime indicators are down. So it's a quick look at our dashboard. I will just take a step back. And Deputy, are we out of time?
Almost. If you just want to show them quickly the road safety dashboard, and then just speak about the actual road safety map.
Perfect. Thank you, Deputy. So this is the road safety dashboard. We have separated crime and road safety because we're talking about many different occurrence types. So as this loads, I'll note we have impaireds, dangerous driving, street racing. We're looking at the last 7 days. I'll look at, say, the last 180 days to improve or increase our date range and the data on the map on the dashboard. So you can see things like stunt driving. York Regional Police has taken a major effort to curb stunt driving. So that's driving over the 50 kilometers over the speed limit or other types of driving, dangerous driving characteristics. And you can see those are up significantly across the region. If you want to take a look at Aurora, we'll just quickly select Aurora. Looking at the last 180 days, we can see stunt driving is up. Again, we have been more involved in that and definitely trying to do as much as we can about that. Total traffic conditions, collisions are mentioned here. The traffic collisions, total property damage collisions. We've got other types of collisions noted here, those that involve personal injury. Those are slightly up in Aurora this year. Impaired operations are slightly up in the last 180 days. But there's a number of other things, like there have been no street racing in Aurora. We've had no traffic collisions with, or very little with failed to remains, which means people did not stick around to report that or to share their information. I will quickly look at a couple other pieces of this dashboard. We have a fatal tab, which will show you how many fatalities were involved in Aurora. There have been 0 fatalities on Aurora roads in the last 365 days, and this is on the regional roads, not any 400 series highways. And we can also look at the other tab, the last tab on the list, which is great. insight for everyone who lives in Aurora, which intersections have the most collisions in the last 365 days. And we can see Yonge and Wellington would have been probably a good guess by everyone here, has had the most collisions. We've had 31 collisions over the last year. Wellington and Bayview has had 16 collisions. People that are new to Aurora can click on these to see where that intersection is on the map, and the details of those collisions can be viewed just by clicking the next button and seeing the time of day and day of week or in the date of those collisions. So this is a great indication of the safety of your roads, and York Regional Police is again continuing to partner with the region of York on the safety of our roads and with, of course, our councillors with respect to the needs of the public.
We've reached our time, Greg.
Awesome. Thank you, Deputy. And I'd be happy to take any questions if there are any.
Thank you, Greg. Council, first, can I get a motion to receive the presentation? Councillor Gilliland, seconded by Councillor Humphries. Councillor Humphries, go ahead.
It's great. Thank you so much for showing us this incredible analytical database. It's very cool. And, it's very impressive. Just a couple of quick questions, and I may have missed this from a communications perspective so that our, residents know where they can go and look at this information. Is there, do they just go onto the York Region website and check it out? What's the best way for us to point them in that direction?
Greg?
Go ahead, Greg.
Yes, we do recommend going right to wiredp.ca, our main webpage. We can share with your group the media release that went out from our media team, our corporate communications team. If you do want to share that, we do encourage all of you to share this with your constituents and encourage traffic to this site, because we do want to share this with as many people in the region as possible.
Absolutely. I'd love that too, Mr. Mayor. That's a great idea. If we can get that copy of that release, I'm sure we'll love to share with our residents. And, it's really cool because there's another app. I think it's called Neighbors or something. Mr. Mayor, thank you. And I think Councilor Gilliland, you're on it. It's like Neighborhood Watch. It's an app. And I've noticed, people saying, oh, we're getting car break-ins and, oh, we're getting, more of this and that. And so I'd love to be able to share right there. Look, guys, go here and you'll get the actual data. I think that's really super interesting. On one hand, we don't want to see anything not safe in Aurora, but on the other hand, it's kind of a very positive view on some aspects. That's really, really wonderful. And I noticed that some of the highest areas of collision intersections, one of them says, Yonge and Golf Links. Well, that's the Tim Hortons. It's crazy over there. Lots of people are trying to get their coffee in the morning. It's just a tiny little area. I've always seen little fender benders there, but this is fantastic. And just super quick, how do you get the data to upload into the database? Is it through, I guess, official reports, right? Where you go to the scene, log a situation, and then it gets uploaded somehow through different databases? I'm just curious.
Correct.
You, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, thank you. The data is all based on actual crime reports. So officers are recording those events as they attend those 911 calls. And where a report is required or a criminal act actually occurs, that data will then go into our records management system, which then goes through into the data warehouse that we have and then feeds the public on a nightly basis.
Wow. Thank you, Mr. I think this is fantastic. I think for our residents, for ourselves, it's great that we sort of keep a tab on this and check it out every once in a while. And I'm sure just for your officers, it's really great because they know where the high areas are for safety issues, not just traffic, obviously, other worse types of things that go on, but at least they're in the area and they know what they can anticipate. I think that's really, really incredible tool. So thank you so much for sharing today. Really appreciate it. And we'll be sure to share with our residents for sure.
Thank you, Councillor. And you're right. Watch out for people that are in rush for their coffee in the morning.
That's right.
So, Councillor Gardner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you both for coming. This is a very impressive, very interesting and useful site. I'd love to know who designed it. I have a question about the road safety dashboard. there are some streets in Aurora that are known for speeding. Perhaps the most notorious is St. John's Side Road because there's so few stoplights. I don't know if there are any. One near Bayview and St. John's. So if somebody had a concern about speeding on St. John's, I mean, real speeding on St. John's, would they go onto this site and document that? If you had a lot of responses about a particular area, would YRP then be able to go out and monitor that area? So there's two questions, actually.
So through you,
Deputy Chief, go ahead.
So I'll pass it over to Sony, but I think inherently within the actual community safety portal, we do actually track speeding offenses. That is correct, Greg, right? So if community members do want a little bit more information about areas of concern, they obviously can go on to the map. But in terms of actually addressing speeding issues or issues of traffic safety, contacting obviously Superintendent Desange, he'll actually through the core office assign some folks that'll do some proactive work within that area and actually assess to see if there's a valid complaint in relation to speeding. So Sonia, I'm not sure if you want to add anything on to that.
Sony?
Got unmuted there. Thank you very much, Deputy. That is correct. We got a core unit that we can address these concerns through. Mayor Marakis does have my contact information, and Mayor, please feel free to share it with council, and any kind of concerns, bring it to our attention, and we'll definitely pay attention to it.
Absolutely. Councillor, yeah, and I'll share that contact information for all of council.
Thank you. That would be great. Because if there's, there could be a lot of speeding, maybe not, but people who don't get tickets because there's no enforcement in the area. So they go together. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Gilliland.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the presentation. Quick question. Was this something that you guys had offered previously, and this is like a new launch or a new version of your crime map? I recall Superintendent Slack showing me this back in 2018. So is this like a revised version?
So this is through you, Mayor. We did have a former tool that was a crime map. It didn't provide the robustness of our new version. So this actual portal was created by York Regional Police and Greg's team. It adds significant enhancements to the fact that it allows for greater transparency and visibility from a neighborhood perspective. So one of the comments that we would always receive from our residents in relation to the tool itself was sometimes it felt a little bit clunky. There wasn't sufficient information. We really wanted to transform the map so it was meaningful to residents. And it was meaningful to residents by virtue of really identifying neighborhoods and what our constituents can do to actually really participate in community safety and well-being. So it actually was completely transformed from bottom up, completely redesigned. Although the premise in terms of data, it is completely different. We are sharing subsets of data that were never included in that map. I hope that answers your question.
Councillor?
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, it does answer some of the questions because I did notice you have a lot more other gateways to look into the incidents in a lot more detail. I just wanted to know as well, how user-friendly is it for the mobile, or do you find that can be a bit challenging?
Greg, I'll turn that one over to you.
Thank you.
Just unmuting. Appreciate the question. And yes, we have put quite a bit of effort into a mobile version. So for each road safety map or the crime map, there is the mobile version on the main site, and that does offer the community safety alert functionality, as well as the ability to select your municipality, zoom in, zoom out, and change your date ranges. So there's still a lot of great functionality from the the mobile version. And actually in our first couple of weeks, people were using our mobile version at a rate of approximately 70% mobile version use versus desktop use at about 30%. So we were getting a lot more activity on the mobile version.
Councillor?
Thank you. I was trying it out myself just to kind of get an idea because I know you had demonstrated the desktop version. So I want to be able to share it to as many people as possible in the community. At that time in 2018, when I saw this for the first time and I noticed all the great upgrades, I understand that this is something that is, from what I understand, first in Canada. All the other provinces were looking to York Region and this data. Is that still staying true, that you guys really are the true testament of this kind of data collection?
We do, other services do have crime maps and data portals, but I would say that York Regional Police is a first and a pioneer within this area. The entire vision of, our community and community participation as a shared responsibility, and the ability for community members to actually submit digital evidence, to actually be privy to crime prevention tips, to a whole host and gambit of new features and functionality. We are the first. And 6 years ago, Greg and his team actually introduced the first business intelligence and analytics tool within our organization. We've done substantial work in-house to address concerns for officers in terms of resource allocation. This version is actually completely designed for the public, for members of our community to really look and see, what can I do as a citizen within a neighborhood to really augment the safety and security of where we live. So short answer to say yes, we believe that we are the first ones to really actually take this level of community engagement in terms of a portal like this.
Councillor.
Thank you. And I did Google while we were doing your presentation. I found that link great, and also a YouTube, I think yourself, for a couple minutes demonstrating it. So I'm definitely going to share that knowledge. The one thing that was a takeaway for me when I first met with Superintendent Slack was the reminder to people when they do see an incident with a theft or something that's going on is to report, because if you don't report, then you don't know that there's a high incident rate in that area. So as much as we want to talk about it and say things, unless it's reported, it doesn't really come across your desk to show that there's any real reason to set alarm. So do you have any message for the public today or right now that you could kind of send to them in regards to this system and what it does?
Absolutely. And thank you for that. We encourage all constituents, when they see a crime or they've been victim of a crime, to actually report it. That is the only way for York Regional Police to truly understand the nature and severity of crime that are happening within our neighborhoods. We always ask for all of our community members, whenever they have something to report, there are multiple ways to report that. We have an ART emergency number. We have an online reporting tool that we can use. So anytime a member of the community does see a crime or is a victim of a crime, we definitely encourage them to actually report that.
Councillor?
Great. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none. Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming out this evening, and absolutely a fantastic portal that is available for all residents. The only thing I'm going to comment on, because we've already gone through this, I've sat through this presentation, and I think it's, as I said, fabulous. On the main page of the website, you have a child with or youth with two of your officers, and he's wearing a Newmarket tooth. I'm just wondering why he's not wearing an Aurora tooth.
Hey.
That's a sponsorship deal. We can talk later.
So
I don't know. I'm thinking because of where the headquarters is located, it should have been an Aurora toque. I don't know, but I'll leave it there. But no, gentlemen, honestly, thank you very much. I think it's very important, as you stated, being transparent. And I think that we said this time and time again, regardless of whether it's from a council perspective, from a policing perspective, the more information that the residents have, the better off we are as a community. And I think this portal is going to go a long way to ensure that we work together as a community and we end up being one of the safest communities, as we know we are. And we're very thankful for YRP and all the work that each and every one of you do for our community. So thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Council? Oh, Councilor Gardner, did you want to add something? Sorry, go ahead.
No, Mr. Mayor.
I saw you waving there for a second. I didn't know, is that a buy or is that a hand up?
Just
That's
a
a-
wave of thanks.
Okay, thank you. So,
Thank you,
gentlemen,
Mr.
thank you
Mayor.
again. And I will call the vote, which is on our e-scribe.
Oh,
That carries. Council, we'll move to our consent agenda. Someone like to move receipt of items 7-1 to 7-8? Councillor Gilliland, second. Councillor Gardner, any comments, questions? Mr. Clerk, call the vote. That carries. Standing committee reports. Council, this is for all of number 8. Are there any items that anyone would like pulled? Councillor Gilliland.
I have a question, 8.1.5.
Okay. Art? Yeah. Any others? Anybody? I get a motion to approve the remaining standing committee reports minus 8.1.5. All of number 8. Oh, Councillor Gardner, did you have something? Before I go ahead?
no, Mr. Mayor, thank you for your consideration. My hand is up to approve it.
Oh, okay. Call a vote. That carries. Council will move to 8.1.5 or Town Square Project Monitoring Task Force meeting. Recommendations that out of committee is that Roar Town Square Project Monitoring Task Force meeting minutes of November 16, 2021 be received from information. Councillor Gilliland, you pulled this. Would you like to move that recommendation? Thank you. Seconder. Councillor Thompson, thank you. Councillor Gilliland, go ahead.
Through Mr. Mayor to Mr. Nanarozny, I noticed in the new business section, there was a question about the Yonge Street Library entrance, and that the contractor is supposed to report back with some sort of solutions. And I'm just wondering, I guess in the next meeting date's 2022. So, I'm just trying to wrap my head around a little bit about the, how long it's going to take to clear up Yonge Street there. I know when I had that tour a couple months ago, it seemed that it was going to be the next thing that was going to be completed rather quickly. But obviously it's not the case, probably due to, I'm going to suggest supply, but I don't know. But if you can just kind of give us an idea of what your thoughts are, the construction moving forward, that'd be great.
Sale. You're not. No, you're on.
There was an issue with grading coming out of the entrance down to the sidewalk that required some re-engineering and some rework. And one of the things that we've done to make sure that there's no issues, particularly in the winter, is we've added a heated element in the area between the front door and the sidewalk so that it will stay clear in those sort of in-between times when it's just heading for zero and there could be a slip and fall concern. So that has inserted a bit of a delay, but they're on track and they're working towards completing that work and getting the entrance cleaned up and finished. I'll get a full report on this tomorrow at our next site meeting. So if there's any update, I'll provide that to council.
Council.
Great, thanks. I appreciate that. So we're not waiting too long. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Thompson.
Thank you. Just following along in terms of the new business, there was a mention here in terms of the capital campaign and that we're approximately halfway to our campaign goal. Will there be I guess, a report coming to council in the new year that sort of speaks more to this? Through you to Mr. Nadarozny.
Mr. Seal.
To you, Mr. Mayor, yes, there will be a briefing for council on the progress to date and the steps going forward.
Perfect.
Council.
Thanks.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Call the vote. That carries. Okay, we'll move to 9.1, council. Presentation for manager, economic development and policy regarding economic development marketing campaign. Ms. House.
Hi, good evening, and thank you, Mayor and Council. Are you able to hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. And I believe Clerks has a presentation they're going to put up for me. And we're good.
Yep.
All right, perfect. So again, good evening, and thank you for allowing me a few minutes to share with you an exciting update on behalf of Aurora Economic Development Corporation and the Economic Development Team. And we can exchange the perfect. So the Aurora Economic Development Corporation, as you know, is a unique an asset for the town, and its board is made up of dedicated community leaders that provide advisory and assistance in driving economic development initiatives. So one of the key mandates of the board was the development of the town's economic development strategic plan that focuses staff work plans in 4 key areas: investment attraction, business support, downtown revitalization, and community engagement, which will include workforce development. In order to deliver in the areas, the board created committees: the Downtown Committee, Targeted Investment, and C-Suite, also known as a Business Leaders Committee. Each were designed to connect, engage, and move Aurora economic development initiatives forward. In each of these areas was an action item to have a marketing campaign. However, instead of having 4 different campaigns, one for each of the objective areas, we're pleased to present an overarching campaign that incorporates the many areas under one marketing identifier for economic development. So developed through brainstorming ideas with the AEDC and a small advisory group, combined with conversations with local businesses, we worked with the town's communication team to create a look and feel for economic development. We're pleased to present the Emerging Aurora identifier. The fresh, clean look is designed to complement the town's colors and historic brand while providing an engaging icon to build awareness of initiatives to come. So the name Aurora, as many of you know, means dawning and new beginnings. And emerging means becoming prominent or rising. So combined, the identifier will build awareness of the new initiatives in business support as we continue to work through and emerge from the pandemic, as well as to help identify projects and programs that support economic development strategic plan initiatives. The intent is to run the Emerging Aurora campaign through the remaining life of the economic development strategic plan, which is 2023. And while I cannot believe we're speaking of 2023, that will also be the year that the board will begin a new strategic plan building on the momentum that we're currently experiencing. And while it may seem a few years out between the current plan and completing the next economic development plan, we will be entering the year 2030. You can let that one sink in, that we're looking at 2030. So emerging now as an up and coming player in attracting business and talent will really position Aurora for the future. So this is a really exciting initiative. So as part of the campaign, there are several marketing elements that I wanted to highlight, as you'll soon see them in the market. So the first is an updated business portal on the town's main website, found at aurora.ca/business. This is definitely a work in progress with the intent of having the most relevant information for businesses at their fingertips. Along with the web portal, we've worked with communications to create a few social media handles specific to the business community. So the @Emerging Aurora handles will be incorporated into the web portal as we gain followers and audiences. Along with, so that's, go to the next one then. So along with the web and social, we'll be launching a series of business stories, advertising, and the much anticipated videos. So as part of the video campaign, there were two projects. One speaks to the history of the town and the downtown revitalization. Its aim is to encourage engagement and attraction of what's to come in downtown Aurora with a little insight of what makes Aurora special. The second video, which was from the C-suite group in the committee, takes off from the history of the town and speaks to current business leaders in Aurora from a variety of industries, including manufacturing, technology, retail, and professional services. Its intent is to share why Aurora is emerging as a great place to consider for a business location by the leaders that call Aurora home. So what you'll see are basically highlight reels that kickstart the awareness, and we're able to capture a great deal of footage through the production and a lot of messages. Over the course of the campaign, several other videos will be created and shared in smaller pieces to continue the story and engagement. So with that, Mike and clerks, if you'll please play the downtown video and take us back in time.
More than 200 years ago, the fine town of Aurora began to take shape at the dusty crossroads of Yonge Street and Wellington Street. From a spot on the map, a small and sleepy hamlet home to farmers and early merchants emerged. Before long, the hamlet grew into an enterprising and stirring business community. And those same dusty crossroads became the heart of downtown Aurora. As time passed, Aurora blossomed to become one of the most sought-after places to live in Ontario. Fast forward to today, downtown Aurora is an upbeat neighborhood, a unique combination of small town charm and bustling enterprise, culture, community, entertainment, and modern amenities. If you haven't been lately, downtown Aurora is worth a visit. A radiant place to live, shop, eat, work, and play. A place to gather, to celebrate, to learn, and a place to imagine the future. Vibrant revitalization is on the horizon for downtown Aurora. What's great is about to become exceptional. At the center of the revitalization project is the construction of the Aurora Town Square, the largest capital infrastructure project the town has ever embarked on. Our new town square, slated to open in the fall of 2022, is a catalyst of revitalization in the heart of town. A place where a community can come together from all four corners of Aurora in all seasons to enjoy art, theater, music, shopping, and community events and activities. Aurora Town Square includes two key spaces: an outdoor square and a community facility that features a state-of-the-art performance hall and a variety of multi-purpose programming spaces that will bring new life and energy to downtown Aurora. Time may pass and things may change, but one thing remains the same. The heart of Aurora is downtown Aurora. The best of it is yet to come.
Great. So as you can see, there's a great deal to be proud of and a great message to share. And who better to get the word out than our current leaders? So with that, clerks, if we can play our business leaders video.
Hi, I'm Steve Falk, president of Prime Data here in Aurora.
My name is May Kamisa. We have a family business in Aurora called Omar Shoes.
Hi, my name's Don Walker. I have worked at Magna for over 30 years, most of that time as the CEO.
I'm Keith Liu, CEO and co-founder of Scanopathy.
Allison Boyd. I am the president and owner of Gibson Group.
My name is Anu Bidani. I am the founder and CEO of STEM Minds.
I think Aurora can easily make you feel like home. You're looking for a place to have a business and maybe work very close to. You can pretty quickly, there's something about
The people. The Aurorans are just warm, lovely people. We have so many beautiful things about this town.
It's so close to, let's say, Toronto, but at the same time, it's got this small town feel. So you get this balance of big yet small.
I have a mom of 2 boys and we have a dog. So as a family, we really love going for outdoor walks. Shepherd's Bush is a great place to go enjoy the walks, and the Halloween time, the way they decorate it, is just an amazing experience.
We have such a diverse, inclusive environment here, and there's just so much opportunity for just kind of a well-rounded experience when you come and live in Aurora.
I think when young professionals look for where they want to work, they look at the company, the culture, but also where they're located. And if you're out of the congestion of Toronto and you can be north of the city, which is a great spot because you're halfway to cottage country, which is an amazing area in Canada, and you can also raise a family up here, you really need to think through, if you're going to put down roots, where do you want to be for the long term? And I think Aurora area is an amazing place for that.
Aurora is this small town where everybody gets to know each other and knows each other well. At the same time, it feels like we don't ever need to leave Aurora because we have everything at our fingertips.
I would absolutely encourage anyone who'd like to start up a business in Aurora to come to Aurora.
When you come to Aurora, not only are you going to be part of a community feel, you're going to be part of future and innovation that is only at the beginning. I truly believe that Aurora will be a town that's known across the country, that's dedicated to leadership and innovation. So I really suggest to be part of that.
this place can make you feel at home pretty quickly. And I think that's a feeling that people like to have. That's reassuring and comforting. It gives you somewhere to relax to at the end of your stressful business day to go, at least I'm here.
So thank you. And in the end, there are many people to thank, but I won't go through them or I'll sound like an Academy Award speech. I would, however, like to thank you, Mayor and Council, for your support over the last, this really fast 2021 year. Our CAO, Doug, of course, and directors, and David Waters for everyone's support in the many initiatives that serve our residents, businesses, and our visitors. So I'd like to wish you happy holidays while I have you and your attention, and the best for the new year. And I thank you, and I'll be pleased to answer any questions.
Thank you, Lisa. Council, first, can I get a motion to receive for information? Councillor Humphreys, seconded by Councillor Kim. Any comments or questions? Councillor Humphreys?
I wanted to say thank you so much, Lisa, for your presentation this evening. All the great work being done to put that those two incredible videos together. I think they just represent how evolving our town is and how exciting the future is, and just all the hard work put in by you and the Economic Development Board and BIA and everyone that you've been working with very closely. You've made a significant contribution, I believe, since you've started here. And I want to thank you very much for your personal efforts with this. And of course, CAO. I just a quick question. How do we get our hands on those videos so we can share as well? Are they on our webpage already, or will they be, they're really special. And I'm looking forward to sharing with them and sharing with my 95-year-old mother-in-law to see if that's how downtown looked when she could remember in 1935. So wondering what if you can let me know, that'd be great.
Lisa?
Great, thank you. And through you, Mr. Mayor. So the videos are now live on the town's YouTube channel, and they will also be posted to the new web portal. Hopefully in the next day or two, those will be up for you.
Great. Awesome. Thank you so much. Incredible work.
Thank you. Councillor Thompson, then Councillor Gilliland, and Councillor Gardner. Councillor Thompson.
Thank you. And certainly I echo the comments of Councillor Humphreys. I thought both videos are great. Just to be perhaps through you to Ms. House, a little bit more detail about how we're going to get the word out and make sure that the people that need to see these videos are going to be able to see them so that we can attract more investment and attract more business leaders, such as the ones that you showcased, which I absolutely loved, by the way. But just a little bit more to the strategy about making sure that the people that we want to see this will see this.
Lisa?
Great, and thank you. Appreciate the comments. So the strategy in marketing plan, I worked with a group from the advisor group. So we had 3 from the board, and then run it through about different businesses. But we have a full plan. So tonight starts they'll be live on the website and pushing out the web portal. And as I mentioned, some of the social media pieces. We also have a whole lineup of everything coming up next, starting in January. But to start on the business piece, back a little while ago, we presented to council on the C-Suite video project, which is this video. This is the highlight reel, but the article that goes with it and the video launched tomorrow in National Post. And that runs for all the business pieces. And then starting in January throughout the whole year, we have regular advertising and media push, not only for residents to kind of get that feel and make sure they understand what's happening in the redevelopment piece, but also for businesses that are looking to locate in Aurora and to get that message across. We also have in June, we're going to be partnering with the region on the Collision Conference in Toronto, where we will take bits and pieces of those business leader videos and all that back end footage that we have and speak directly to the technology companies and have a different video for them during that conference, and then a ton of marketing directly to those companies there. So a full plan coming. So we're very excited about it.
Councillor?
I would agree. It sounds very exciting. I look forward to hearing more about the results and continuing to hear from you. So thanks very much, Lisa.
Thank you.
Councillor Gilliland?
Thank you. I won't repeat what's said. So a lot of the questions were the same and comments were the same, but good job, Lisa. I know that you kind of came on board kind of midway with this term, and you've turned this around in a great positive direction between yourself and Mr. Waters, and of course, obviously the team. And it's just great to see some results from all the hard work that you guys have worked so hard to do. So I'm looking forward to releasing the videos. Councillor Humphrey was saying, give us those links. Let us spread it as much as we can. And I really am happy to hear that you do have a plan moving forward with some more media attention, and it's ongoing. It's just not a one and dump video that we're throwing out in the cyberspace, that it's something that's ongoing. So I appreciate that. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Gardner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I echo everybody's comments. The videos are very impressive and welcoming. So I would like to thank you very much for your work, and to everybody who's been involved in this plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Kim?
I just want to say the same thing. Lisa, you did an excellent job. It's been a pleasure working with you this year on the Economic Development Board, and your team is fabulous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? So, Lisa, obviously fantastic job by everyone involved. I think especially the downtown one, if that doesn't pull a little bit on the heartstrings, show you a bit of where the town's come from and where we're going and the excitement that we're about to embark on as a town and as a community. It really does do something. And I think, quite frankly, I think that the GTHA has taken notice of our town, and the word's out there. And I think that this is gonna resonate with many in the business community. We're going to see more attraction coming in. When you look at the individuals that are in that video, they're, from a global perspective to a national perspective to a local perspective, they represent all those different sectors in the business community, and they're all right here in the town of Aurora. And just hearing what they had to say, dedicated to innovation and leadership. When you hear these executives at such a high level speak about the town in this regards, and talking about feeling like it's home, some of those words just resonate really strongly, and I think it will resonate very well right across that GTHA. So I think it's an exciting time. Love the videos and looking forward to seeing the write-up in the National Post. tomorrow. So that's going to be exciting. So thank you very much for all your work and for all staff's work. And I think all of the Economic Development Board as well for all their work. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Call a vote. That carries. Council, next 9.2, it is the 2022 final approved budget. Before I move forward, Councillor Humphreys, I believe you.
Mr. Mayor.
Her mic's not back on.
Need to, from the operating budget to Central York Services, I will need to step away for that vote. So if we can call it separately, I'd appreciate it. Or I just won't participate in it.
No, so Councillor, what we'll do is I know you have a pecuniary interest in regards to number 3, which is in regards to fire services. So what we'll do, Council, clause number 3, we will do last separate. We'll do everything else all together. Okay. So
thank you.
When we deal with 3, Councillor Humphreys will move away from the table.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Clerk, we're good on that? Okay. So Council, I'm gonna read out 1, 2, 4. That's it, 4. Oh, and 5. So recommendation is that report number FIN 21052 be received. 2, that council approve the 2022 operating budget as follows. A, the operating budget excluding Central York Fire Services as amended by this report and as summarized in attachment 1. B, the water, wastewater, and stormwater rates to fully fund each of these services as summarized in table 2. And C, that the necessary tax and water billing bylaws be enacted at a future council meeting. Clause 4, that council approve the 2022 capital budget as follows. A, the capital budget authority and planned spending by project as detailed in the budget binder table on October 26, 2021, and as amended in this report and as summarized in attachments 2 and 3. B, the capital budget authority and planned spending for the roads, facilities, fleet, and storm sewer rehabilitation and replacement capital programs as detailed in the budget binder tabled on October 26, 2021, as summarized in table 2 and subject to the rules detailed in this report. And C, the funding sources for each capital project as reviewed and recommended by Budget Committee on November 20, 2021. 5, that the reconciliation of the 2022 operating budget to the full accrual basis of accounting as required under Ontario Regulation 2084/09 as summarized in attachment 4 be endorsed. Would someone like to move those recommendations? Councillor Kim, seconded by Councillor Humphreys. Any comments or questions? Yeah, because we're doing, yes. Councillor Thompson.
Just a general comment with regards to all the work that's gone into the development of the budget. I know that, it was particularly challenging, not just with COVID, but the fact that assessment growth came in less than anticipated, and staff had to revisit a number of different things to ensure that we continue to meet our fiscal strategy of inflation, which we've identified at 2% plus the 1 for our fiscal strategy and future growth. And so once again, great work goes to Mrs. Wainwright Van Kessel, the entire finance team, and the rest of ELT as well, and to council for the work that was done this term. And so that was it. Just wanted to show my appreciation.
Thank you, Councillor Gilliland, then Councillor Gardner.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor, to Ms. Wainwright Van Kessel. I know we had a conversation earlier, and I just kind of wanted to put out to make it clear, just for the public as well. During the budget meetings, we did make some amendments to the budget, and just pointing out, and just if you can confirm that in table 3 on page 8 are the recommended changes that we made as council moving forward. So when we do approve it, these are the items that we've decided we're either going to either conditionally approved or deferred or whatever the status might be. If you could just kind of confirm that, then just for the public so they can kind of see the things that we have made that are different.
Ms. Wainwright Van Kessel.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So yes, as Councillor Gilliland mentioned on table 3, that identifies the changes that were recommended at the Saturday budget meeting, budget committee meeting that we had for various capital projects.
Councillor.
Great, thank you. That's all.
Thank you. Councillor Gardner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I continue to be concerned about us pegging the rate of inflation at 1.99. Last I checked, and I don't know if it was for the region or the province, but it was 4.71. So through Mr. Mayor to Ms. Wainwright Van Kessel, could you comment on this?
Ms. Wainwright Van Kessel.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So when we look at the inflation over the last year, inflation is trending over 4% at this time. But if we look back into a year ago, inflation at that time was close to 0 or below 0 at that time. So when it balances out over the couple of years, again, the federal government is calling for higher inflation next year, but we don't know exactly where that's going to land, and they're expecting it to return to a more normal state after that. So we will monitor things as we go and as we go into next year, but I am confident with the budget we have, we can make it work with the inflation that we will see.
Councillor.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And something I forgot to ask you or didn't think of asking you this afternoon, with respect to our investments, is the inflation rate going to affect anything in the near future in our investments?
Ms. Wainwright Van Kessel.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So our inflation and investments do usually tend to correlate to some degree. However, we have to remember our investments right now are related to the legal list, which limits the amount of or the types of investments that we can use. So they're generally interest-bearing investments rather than equity-bearing investments.
Councillor.
So if they're interest-bearing investments, the rate of inflation might affect that?
Ms. Wainwright Van Kessel.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, the rate of inflation could affect it if there's changes with the Bank of Canada rates. Right now, Bank of Canada is holding the rates flat, but if they should increase in the future, then we would see higher interest rates.
Councillor.
Thank you very much. That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Humphries.
Mr. Mayor, I just also wanted to say a few words. Councillor Thompson summarized, but really thank you very much to Ms. Van Kessel and the finance team, along with the financial advisory committee with the council members there. Thank you very much. You did a lot of the hard work, the detailed work for us. It really helped the process. And I also, just the entire process this year was so wonderfully laid out and clear. And honestly, it's a testament to the hard work of staff, the continuing evolution of helping it just be very, very straightforward so that we understand clearly impact. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Councillor Gallo.
Thank you. I just had a question about the Safe Restart funding, and if this is approved tonight, do we give approval to use that funding as been previously identified?
Mr.
To Mr. Mayor, I might ask Ms. Wainwright Van Kessel to comment on this as well. But for the most part, the use of the Safe Restart Fund is subject to the criteria that the province has sent us in terms of expenses related to responding to the COVID situation. Council could obviously decide at any point as things are brought forward to not fund whatever the proposed expenses from that funding, and another source would simply be found to fund it. We right now don't have much detail from the province. Those funds have been advanced to the municipality, and a general guideline has been provided as to what things are eligible. And so we have just made decisions or suggested uses of that fund consistent with the guidelines that the province has given us. We're not sure if there will be a future follow-up in terms of going through those various investments and expense coverages on the part of the province, but we'll see what the months ahead bring. I'm not sure if Ms. Wainwright Van Kessel would add anything to that from a process perspective.
Ms. Wainwright Van Kessel, do you have anything to add?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So with there's the Safe Restart and the Safe Recovery funds. They seem like the same pot of money for the same purpose, but the reporting on them is a little bit different. We have done some reporting back on the Safe Restart funds, which was the initial money that we received from the provincial and federal governments. And again, we have criteria in which we have to follow to be able to use that funding. And that's what we're following in the recommendations that we have forward for the use of those grant funds.
Thank you. Councillor?
I'll just repeat my question in case it wasn't clear, and I really just need a yes or no. In approving what we have before us, does it give authority to staff to distribute the funds as previously identified? And I want to be very specific in terms of the armory lease and the funding that's been allocated towards the lease of that project.
Sale.
So, Mr. Mayor, the use of the fund in the budget for 2022 is our best guess at the impacts we will see as a result of COVID. So it's not finalized. With respect to the armory, the same is true for that. We are anticipating with the potential restart of the agreement with Niagara College, which will be coming to council early in the new year, that some of the expenses we've incurred in the delayed startup would be eligible for those funding, but that would be something that council could absolutely address in the new year.
Councillor?
Still not clear, and maybe it's just a yes or no. If we approve what's before us, I'll say the third time, will we be agreeing to allocating the Smart Restart funding specifically to the Army?
Sale.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, if you approve what is before you, you are agreeing with the proposal that staff have put on the table for council for the use of those funds to balance the budget for 2022. We do not expect the 2022 year to roll out exactly the way we've envisioned it, particularly as it relates to the expenses incurred as a result of COVID. And so there will be an opportunity for council to certainly change an allocation that we have otherwise counted on from that fund in the months ahead.
Councillor?
I'll just put a motion forward that we table any funding regarding the armory lease until we have the closed session report to us, and then we can make a decision at that point.
Could you state that again, Councillor? I have councillors sitting here that couldn't hear that.
Sorry, I would like to table the allocation of the Smart Restart funding towards the armory until we have the report in January in closed session, and then we can make a decision at that point.
Someone like to second that? Councillor Gardner. Any other comments or questions?
If I could just, Mr. Mayor,
yeah.
If I could just ask staff if they feel that is an issue, if we can delay that allocation until we get the report, which I believe is the best strategy. We shouldn't be making any decisions until we have all the details.
Ms. Wainwright Van Kessel.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So if the motion proceeds, or if it does not, we're going to end up with the very similar results either way, because when it comes to the use of those funds, we actually have to have evidence to use those funds. So for example, if we end up in a situation where the variance is a different amount, if it's less or if there is none, then we will not be using the Safe Restart monies for that variance. So we would just see it through our reporting and during the interim next year.
Councillor?
So if we proceed with this through you, Mr. Mayor, there wouldn't be any impact on the budget.
Ms. Wainwright Van Kessel?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So if we keep the funds in the budget, but just wait for that decision based on what happens with the armory, then that is fine. And that's what we were going to do anyways, regardless of the motion. We are going to wait to see what happens and see how much funds we need. This is a placeholder at this point in time. It's an estimate, and we'll run the variance based on what actually happens and the decision that council makes.
Councillor?
And that's exactly what I was proposing to do, to basically wait until we receive the information and then make a decision from that point. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Councillor Thompson? This is to the motion that's on the floor now, the amendment.
So it's just not clear to me, I guess, through you again to Mrs. Wainwright Van Kessel. So if this motion is approved, is it redundant? Does it make any difference? Or if it's defeated, does it make any difference? I'm trying to understand that because your explanations seem to agree with what Councillor Gallo was hoping to achieve, so which would make it seem like this is already in place so that the motion is redundant. But I guess I'd like to get some clarity from staff and through you to Mrs. Wainwright Van Kessel. Perhaps she could, I guess, expand upon her answer. What happens if council votes for this amendment or doesn't vote for this amendment? Does it make either difference?
Ms. Wainwright Van Kessel?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So there is no difference. If council votes for it or does not vote for it, we still can only apply the funding based on the decision that council would make on how to handle that lease.
Thank you. So then, therefore, it's redundant. Appreciate it.
Any other comments or questions? Councillor Gardner, did you have your hand up to the amendment? No?
All right, sorry, no, it's not to the amendment.
Okay, thank you. Any other? Call the vote on the amendment. Councilor Carter?
I just submitted it, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. It's defeated. Back to the main motion. Councilor Gallo, you still have the floor. No? Okay, thank you. Councilor Garner, did you want to?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you. When I was speaking to the director this afternoon, I was thanking her privately and her team. So I'd just like to say publicly, I think that she's done an excellent job and made things a lot easier for the public and for council to understand and follow. And I'd like her to thank her team as well.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions, council? Seeing none, just before I call the vote, I just say that I think staff and done a tremendous job through this, and I think throughout the whole 4 years. This is our last budget of this term. And you know what? I think council has done a tremendous job, and we've approved a budget that maintains the services that the residents have come to expect and deserve. But we've been fiscally responsible at the same time. And I think that that's key right there. And, you know, I think this is going to continue to improve the quality of life of all Aurorans as we continue through 2022. I know that, you know, some like to say that there's uncertainty, but I think that we've allowed to bring forward some certainty to the town to let them know that we're moving forward in a positive direction. And we're going to continue to push forward to make sure that we are one of the best communities in all of Ontario. So thank you to staff, thank you to council for all the tremendous work through 4 years of budgets. Call vote. That carries. Councillor Humphries, I'll ask you to move away for the next item, which is clause number 3. Clause number 3, with a total budget of $12,294,900 be approved for the 2022, representing the town's share for fire services. Would someone like to move that recommendation? Councillor Kim, seconded by Councillor Gilliland. Any comments or questions on that one? Call the vote. That carries. Mr. Clerk, we can let Councillor Humphries. Oh, okay. Councillor Humphries is coming back. Council next, 9.3, interim forecast update as of October 31st, 2021. Recommendations that report number FIN 21-051 be received for information. Someone like to move that recommendation? Councillor Gilliland, second by Councillor Thompson. Any comments or questions on this item? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. That carries. Next, we'll move to motions. We have 2. First one is Councillor Kim's naming policy review. Councillor Kim, would you like to move as is? Thank you. Would someone like to second that motion? Councillor Humphries, Councillor Kim, floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Not unlike other reviews council has agreed to this year and in the past, the naming policy as it pertains to facilities, streets, parks, benches, boulders, and the like haven't been reviewed since 2007. And according to staff, they agree that it is time for a fulsome review. The current naming policy is not exhaustive. We need policies to be detailed, clear, and concise so we have consistency each time an opportunity of this nature materializes. That's it.
Thank you, Councillor Kim. Any other comments or questions? Councillor Gardner?
Thank you. I appreciate this motion, and I think it'll be interesting to see what staff say about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Or call a vote. Thank you, Councillor Kim. I think it's always important that we update outdated or if we don't have any policies to put them in place to make sure that we have, as you mentioned, clear and concise direction to staff and for the public to have an understanding of how we move forward in these regards. Call a vote. Councillor Thompson. Councillor Thompson.
For whatever reason, it didn't come up.
Do it. You can just tell
But
me.
I'm in favor. Yes.
You're in favor? Yes. Councillor Thompson's yes. That carries unanimously. Thank you. Next, with my motion, so I'll pass the chair to Deputy Mayor Kim.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Would you like to move your motion?
I'll move as is.
You have the floor. Oh, sorry. Seconder, Councillor Humphreys.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I'll be very quick. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, the motion. I think all of us have talked about the fact the need to provide more financial support for the Aurora Historical Society and our National Historic Site, the Hillary House. I think this here being presented the way it is a way that we can do it. Provide leverage also for the Hillary House and the Aurora Historical Society to actually not only look at possibly getting 150,000, but to leverage this and double that into 300,000. It's much needed, as we heard, funds from them for capital projects and investments into upgrading and restoring the Hillary House. And we all know when it comes to construction, especially when it comes to house renovations, we all own a house, or maybe I'm a little bit premature by saying we all own a house. I'm not sure, but anyone that knows when you do house renovations, they're very costly. And the longer you wait to do them, the cost just keeps going up. So I think the quicker that the Hillary House can get to, doing some of these projects that are much needed, I think the better off they'll be, the better off we'll be as far as from a historic site and making sure that it lasts for another 150 years. So as I said, it's very self-explanatory. It's in front of us, and I hope that it passes unanimously.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have Councillor Humphreys.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's self-explanatory. There's probably no real need to add additional comments other than, during budget, it did concern me that we have such a gem in our town that is run and, looked after by volunteers, and they're doing the best they can. And even though $150,000 sounds like a lot of money, when you look at our own maintenance in our homes, regular homes, non-historical, non-heritage homes, it costs a lot of money every year to keep them up. So to me, this is really important. Councillor Gallo mentioned at the last budget meeting, he feels that they come with their hat, to us begging, and it got me. He's right. Sometimes we don't agree, but that one we absolutely do. And I feel that we need to pay a lot of attention to this, and as time goes on, even more, because understanding their struggle of balancing whatever money they can to fix something or repair something, they're constantly trying to balance and pick which is the top priority. And we certainly don't want to see some damage that may be even beyond repair at such a significant nationally, federally recognized historical building. So thank you so much, Mr. Mayor, for bringing this forward, and I look forward to this coming to fruition. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Humphreys. Councillor Gardner.
Thank you very much. When Councillor Gallo mentioned this, I supported him because I too feel badly, really, when they come year after year and they work so hard and they're just trying to keep this house sound, actually, for the town and for heritage. I want to ask you, Mr. Mayor, well, first of all, I want to say that $150,000, I mean, it's nothing when you're dealing with a house of this age that requires so much work, and it's ongoing. It's a never-ending challenge. What would happen, Mr. Mayor, if they weren't able to raise this money that we would give matching funds for, if they weren't able to raise it in time for their need to do the first renovation, or that they discussed when they came here, the back summer kitchen? What would happen if they did not receive that funding in time for that renovation? would we still give them the money?
Mr. Mayor, would you like to answer that?
Sure, through you, Mr. Chair, and Councillor, great question, and I think that ultimately that would be a decision by council, but through my conversations with the board, putting the stipulation about matching funding is not to hamper them being able to utilize these funds. It's to provide them some leverage to try to double the funds. So basically, if they can raise 25,000, they're actually raising 50,000. If they're raising 50,000, they're actually raising 100,000. And so this provides some leverage where they could go to a possible donor and say, listen, we have funds sitting waiting for us. If you want to provide a donation to us, well, we can double that because the town is willing to step up and provide matching funds for whatever you provide. And so it's a little bit of a leverage tool. Ultimately, if they get to a point where they've been unable to raise any funds and there's a much needed project from a capital standpoint that needs to go forward, well, then we can sit as a council, decide whether do we want to release those funds. And as it states in the motion, it would have to, through procedurally, it would have to go to the Heritage Committee as well. And if we, as the decision-making authority, deem that we're going to decide to let those funds go, well, then that's what we would do. But I think in the meantime, this is a great tool for them to utilize to be able to double the funds. And there is no expiration date on this.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I understand the intent and I think it's excellent. I just want to make sure we have the back of the society and, in fact, Hillary House to ensure that it's taken care of appropriately. So I hope this accomplishes the purpose that you've put forward. That would be excellent. Just wanted to know how we would proceed to support Hillary House if that didn't happen. Thank you.
Councillor Thompson, then Councillor Gallo.
Thank you. Just to along the lines of Councillor Gardner, I certainly, I understand the intent and I'm supportive of the motion and truly do hope that this helps them, find additional funding through various levels of government or through, private donors. I know in the past they've spoken about the fact that even though they're a National Historic Site, they have went after grants and funding from the federal government and other sources, and that they haven't always been successful. And perhaps having us go first in terms of setting up a matching grant program, that this may help them achieve their goals and be successful in future applications and or finding private donors who are willing to contribute to the success of Hillary House. And so I'm supportive, and I truly hope that this serves as a catalyst to future funding for the Historic Site.
Thank you, Councillor Thompson. Councillor Gallo.
Thank you. I'm glad this motion is being put forward. I'm going to assume it sparked something in all of us at budget meeting when I had mentioned they come cap in hand, and maybe this is a result of it. I was under the impression they were under, I guess, in the middle of or starting some type of study to identify all of the needs for Hillary House. And it was my understanding that that's what they were about to engage in, and that, at least in my mind, once they had completed that we would have a better sense, or they would have a better sense of what it is they needed, and then we could engage and see where we could help. If this is a step forward in that process, then I'm in full support of it. I think it's needed as long as it's done properly and transparently. And I look forward to getting more information on their needs and how we can help them.
Thank you, Councillor Gallo. Councillor Humphries, second time.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I actually had an opportunity to reach out to the chair of the Historical Society, and they're extremely excited about this motion. They really, really want the opportunity to hopefully this motion will pass this evening. And they really want the opportunity to match to exactly in terms of what the mayor mentioned earlier. They can approach other donors and mention that the town is matching. So great opportunity for them. And this is very substantial for them as a start. And they're really hoping that as we move forward, that this type of support is something that can be looked into the future is a little more substantial support ongoing as well. But this is an incredible start, and they're very happy with the motion, and they're very happy with the opportunity to do a match, to have a matching type fundraising approach. So they're very excited about this. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilor Humphries. I'm also in support of the motion. It's creative, and thank you, Mr. Mayor, for coming up with this. It's ingenious. That said, would you like to wrap it up? Sorry, we have Councilor Gardner. Sorry.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to know through you, Mr. Chair, to Mr. Deputy Mayor, to Mr. Mayor, do you know if your motion was discussed by the board?
Mr. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Councillor. I know that I believe Councillor Humphries actually was at that meeting, but I did discuss it with the chair previous, and I know that they're very supportive of the motion, and they were actually quite excited at the fact of that it be matching. I actually spoke to them about the matching aspect of it before I put that into the motion. So,
thank you. I just wondered if what the comments were from the board when they discussed the motion.
Well, and I'm not sure if the board would want to openly have their, I mean, I wasn't there, so I can't speak to that, but I can speak to my conversation with the chair and that they're quite thrilled about the opportunity that is being presented to them, hopefully with this motion being passed tonight.
Councilor Gardner?
Thank you, that's all.
Thank you. If there's no further comments or questions, I'll bring it back to Mr. Mayor to add final thoughts.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll just say that it was quite obvious. I think that everyone was going to be supportive of this. I didn't have any doubt. And I'll just remind not just council, and I know all of council does know this aspect of it, but I think it's important for the members of the public to know that this does not impact the tax levy. So I think that's important to notify and let everyone know about. So thank you. And yeah, I'm looking forward to making sure that Hillary House stays for another 150, 200, 300, 400 years. And people will be coming around and seeing that house forever. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If there are no further comments or questions, I'll call the vote. The vote carries, and I'll put the chair back to Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. Council, next we have regional report. A motion to receive for information. Councillor Gilliland, Councillor Kim, any comments or questions on that regional report? Councillor Gardner, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't know if you'll be able to answer this. There's talk of other wastewater projects. There's one in King, and there's some others. Do you know if this is going to affect our capacity in any way?
No, the only ones that will impact us are the ones that were talked about at Henderson, and obviously what happens with the Upper York those are the ones that impact us. Any of the other ones are not directly related to town of Aurora.
Thank you. I was just being hopeful. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Thank you. Councillor Gillette.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor. I saw there's a section here on the LDD moth and some of the action that York Region has taken to protect the trees and such. And I'm really glad to see that they included the egg mass scraping and treatment of high value trees with some pesticide and burlap and banding. And just a little bit of a blurb of kind of what has happened and historically. And so I'm just wondering if they had touched on what their plans are moving forward for the following year.
Pretty much as it says in the report, or as it says in their summary there of what their plans are. They have done use of some pesticides in certain areas that have been really hardest hit. And they are doing, as you said, scraping, and they did do with the work with through municipalities during the outbreak during the summer. They worked with all the municipalities, but we do, as I'll remind council, we also have from a local level, we have, I believe, a report coming back very soon in regards to some of the options for us to be taking as far as from a local level. And so anything that we do, I'm sure that report will also incorporate some of the discussions at the region from regional staff level perspective, and they'll bring all that to us, and we can make a decision as a council what's best to move forward for our community. So, and I'm sure all of us are looking forward to that.
Perfect. Thank you. No, I was looking forward to that because I know that it did come to the environmental committee. We had a good discussion about it, and was hoping at least there's some collaboration that may come out of that, depending on what report we see at council. So that's great.
Absolutely, and maybe I'll talk to staff and see maybe if depending on timing, we can get it to go to environmental quickly before it comes to us, just so they can have a quick look at it. We'll discuss it and see if we have enough time. If not, we could do it the reverse way. So,
well, the environmental committee did see the report.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, they did see the report. That's all I was saying. We got to see it. I know it's coming back.
I
to
didn't
council.
hear you say I got to see it. This glass is very hard to hear everything. So
no problem. No, I appreciate that. So yeah, no, they did there were some comments.
And I apologize, Councillor. I thought you said, I hope that the environmental committee gets to see it. So that's why I was saying, well, okay. I'm glad that they did get to see it. That's great. So when we get it, we'll hear those comments and we can make a decision of what's the best for the community. So absolutely.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that coming back. There's some pretty good stuff in there. Thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you. Any other comments? Oh, Councillor Thompson, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If possible, I'd like to direct this question to Mrs. Wainwright Van Kessel. Within the report, it talks about the state of infrastructure report that Regional Council tabled in 2020, and it talks about the fact that the region owns almost 17 billion in tangible assets, some of which obviously are in Aurora. As we deal with our asset management plan and making sure that we are making the prudent financial decisions to reinvest and repair our investments, our assets, can we also somehow work into those asset management plans some details around the region and how the region is doing it, so that we know that the integration of the two works well together? Because at the end of the day, I mean, some of those assets, they're relatively seamless where they transfer from the region to us and vice versa. And so as a two-tier municipality, I think if we're going to maintain the quality of our assets, we need to also work in concert with the region with respect to that. So perhaps Mrs. Wainwright Van Kessel can comment.
Ms. Wainwright Van Kessel.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So as a part of our capital development, our staff, particularly with ANCA and doing the roadworks, which is mostly affected by a lot of the regional infrastructure as well, we do that coordination to see what is happening at the regional level. But as we develop the asset management plan and we develop our plans moving forward and they get more sophisticated, we can do more coordination as we go forward.
And I think, and thank you. And I think it's appreciated because, when I think of it, as somebody who has, traveled a fair bit across the province and elsewhere, as you take different roads in different communities, sometimes you notice a difference in the quality. And so, I just was thinking with regards to, in this one particular instance, the difference between regional roads and roads within the town of Aurora, there should be some sort of consistency with regards to the state of repair and the quality upon the roads itself. And that's just one example. I'm sure there's lots of others. So I just think as we continue to go down this road of asset management, that we should keep in mind that we are a two-tiered, and that there should be a fair bit of integration and communication so that the quality remains the same. That's it.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Kemp?
To you, Mr. Mayor, to yourself or to Ms. Wainwright Van Kessel. So starting in 2022 regarding the Yonge North Subway extension funding, York Region is considering a 1% annual tax levy surcharge. And given that roughly a third of our tax revenues go to the region, I'm assuming that 1% will be filtering down to the municipalities. So what would that look like to us? And have we, I'm sure we've considered that in our operational budgets.
So thank you. I mean, I will defer to Ms. Mayor and Kess, but I will add that we're still in the process. We haven't approved, finalized the regional budget that is happening this Thursday. There is going to be some discussion, some long discussion in regards to that added 1%. I'm sure many around the table are going to weigh in on that, but Ms. Wainwright Van Kessel, and I'm not sure, Ms. Wainwright Van Kessel, if you'll be able to provide what percentage that 1% would equate for the town of Aurora. I'm assuming it would just be simply 5% out of the total amount, because that's what we represent at the region, but I'll let you answer the question.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So the way that the taxes for the region get distributed is based on a combination of our tax ratios. So for residentials, they're usually set at 1, industrial and commercial are at higher rates. And then that in combination with the current value assessment. So it's based on that distribution, how it gets distributed across the entire region. So it's not strictly as a population. So when we think of, we have 5% of the population, it's not as straightforward as that. It's more based on the actual assessed value of the homes and the other properties we have.
Ms. Wainwright Van Kessel, Councillor?
That's fine. Thank you.
And Councillor, I'll add to just one other thing, is that it's while there's been funding provided by the province and the federal government, it's unfortunate that they haven't provided some more. Ultimately, I think that this is something that they should have stepped up a little bit more and provided some more funding. It's a pretty big bill, pretty hefty bill for the region to take on, especially with some of the capital projects that are much needed, that are still going to be coming forward, such as the Upper York, whichever way it decides to end up going, or whatever the decision that the province decides to make from an environmental assessment perspective. But there's many things that are going to be coming at the region, and this is a major bill that's going to be coming. So it's going to have to be funded some way if we expect to have this type of growth, this type of transportation within the GTHA and running along the Yonge Street corridor. So we'll see what happens on Thursday. I'll make sure I'll keep all council abreast of the decision. Any other comments or questions? I'll call the vote. That carries. New business. I'm going to start with my screen. So I'll go Councillor Gardner, new business.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think this is new business. We've had a lot of wind recently, and a lot of twigs and branches have come off trees. And so there's quite a lot of debris that could be considered yard waste. Is there any chance that we will be able to have an extra pickup for those things?
Mr. Downey?
So through you, Mr. Mayor, and good evening. Unfortunately, no, is the quick answer. And the reason for that is GFL would have to engage additional seasonal staff in order to do that additional pickup, and we would have to give them 30 days notice. So unfortunately, this has been something that we have discussed as N6, and we are not able to get an additional or extended yard pickup this year.
Counselor?
So for residents that are, I don't know if kind enough is the right word, but are going to pick up all of these twigs and branches, and what do you suggest they do with them if they don't have a fireplace?
Mr. Downey?
So through you, Mr. Mayor, they can take them to the transfer stations, and unfortunately, they have to load them up and take them away. We do not have the capability of having them picked up for them.
Thank you. Would this be on Bloomington?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Do you know if they'll be charging for this?
Mr.
Yes.
Downey? Yes.
Yes. Sorry, Mr. Downey. I should have asked you earlier in the day. Thank you.
Not a problem at all.
Thank you. Councilor Gardner, anything else from new business?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Gallo, new business? No. Councilor Thompson, new business? No. Councilor Kim, new business? Councilor Humphreys? No. Councilor Gilliland?
Thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor, to, I guess, Community Services. Just a quick shout out saying thank you to Quick Thinking to cancel that Christmas market on that really crazy, stormy, windy night. I had noticed some lights down as well at Machel's Alley, and it was a very unsafe situation. So it was a good call that you guys did shut it down, but that did not mean that the next day you weren't able to have the market. So that's really good to hear. So I just want to say thank you for that quick call.
Thank you. I have one. It's actually a motion, but if someone would like to put forward, we had a request, as you all know, from the Aurora Historical Society to appoint a member of council as an ex officio, non-voting member of their board. I put out the call to all of you, and as through our policy, basically whoever responds, whoever is at received the most votes during the last election gets the position. And so that is Councillor Humphreys. So if someone wants to put forward a motion to that we appoint Councillor Humphreys ex officio to the board of the Aurora Historical Society, and someone would like to move that and second that, as I can't because I'm the chair. Councillor Gilliland, did you want to move that? Thank you. Someone like to second that? Councillor Gardner, thank you. Any comments or questions? Councillor Gilliland.
Hello? Hi. Sorry, I didn't know I pressed the button, but since I have the floor, I'll speak. I think it's great that there is somebody who is on the board from council representing and just kind of keeping a pulse on what's going on at the Hillary House. I wish I was able to also be on, but I guess Councillor Humphreys, you beat me to it. But I look forward to some of the reports that might come back and keeping a pulse on what's going on. And hopefully they do get some funding and we can keep that going for a while. So thanks.
Thank you.
And I know that you're very passionate on the heritage, so it goes hand in hand.
Any other comments or questions? Otherwise, I'll go to Councillor Humphreys to, I guess, finish. Councillor Humphreys, go ahead.
Just quickly, Mr. Mayor, thank you so much. And I know that other peers would have loved to be on. And so I feel bad for that, but I'm very thankful to have the opportunity. And I promise to keep you all in praise. And if I can't make a meeting, doesn't mean someone else couldn't go, on my behalf. I'll make sure that there's always representation. So I'll make sure that if something happens, definitely will reach out. And then, so this is something that we can work on together. And really thankful to the Historical Society to give us an opportunity. I think just like Councillor Gilliland mentioned, it'll give us a closer pulse to what's happening. So we can be able to represent them at the table a lot better than we have been in the past. So we do that with other committees. So it's really nice that they gave us an opportunity. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? I was just going to say thanks for everyone that sent back and showed interest in this. I think it's another example of how we're continually looking at how we can grow our collaboration with all of our organizations within our town, all our partners. This is, we've we strived at making sure that that it's a strong relationship and it continues to grow and flourish. And ultimately, we're all looking at doing what's best for our community. So I know that this is going to be a very good starting to building an even stronger relationship with the Aurora Historical Society. So looking forward to hearing what's going on there from one of our council representatives. So I'll call a vote. It's on the screen. That carries. Bylaws. Someone like to move that? Councillor Hill and Councillor Kim, any comments or questions on the bylaws? Call the vote. That carries. Confirming bylaw. Councillor Kim, Councillor Gilliland. Comments or questions on the confirming bylaw? Councillor Gardner?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I got so caught up in this, I didn't get a chance. I'm not sure if any of us got a chance to wish the community a happy, safe, and peaceful holiday.
I was going to do that just before we adjourn. Absolutely. If you'd like to do that as well, that's great.
As long as it's said, because we all wish it. Thank you.
I will do that just before we adjourn. So yeah, absolutely. So we're at the confirming bylaw. Call a vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. Before we adjourn, everyone, couple things. First of all, we do have two staff members that are leaving us. Mr. David Waters, who has done a tremendous job in our planning department, took over for Marco Ramuno, came in and has began our OP review, our promenade plan update review. He's retiring, and we wish him all the best and thank him for all the work that he's done for our community. Also, Eliza Bennett, who was our communications manager. She was on contract. We have hired a new manager, but we want to wish, she's done a tremendous job filling the gap. You know what? I can't say enough about the work that Eliza's done from a communication standpoint for the town, and also through the channels for all of us, council and for the mayor's office as well. And so we thank her for all the work that she's done. And I don't know, Mr. Seo, did you want to add anything? Or
thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor. No, I'll just take the opportunity to also add my thanks to both of those individuals. They've played a huge role on the executive leadership team and helped bring the organization, particularly through this crazy past 20-some months of COVID. We wouldn't have been able to get through it as well as we have without their input and their many hours of labor to help the community. So I add my thanks to both of them.
Thank you. And now with that, I'm going to wish our community on behalf of town council, staff, and everyone a happy holiday, a Merry Christmas, Merry Kwanzaa, Happy Kwanzaa. I think it is. Sorry, I apologize. and obviously hope that everyone has a safe holiday season, and we will see you all in the new year. With that, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn. Councillor Gardner, Councillor Thompson, all those in favor? Opposed?